Let us today understand about the plants that are closest to my heart and they are my most favorite plants. They are none other than ferns. Ferns are classic looking plants. They have a lot of class, I would say. They are fussy at times, they are demanding, they are attention seekers, but guess what? I still love them. Any ferns that you see, the first tendency of a fern is to grow like a flower. It blooms and it grows in this direction, and hence what I would prefer is the pot size or the pot. It should not be very deep because the root system of fern, it doesn't go very deep, but it likes to spread a lot. So I would any day prefer a pot which has a wide open mouth, which is like a flat pot, than a deeper pot. So as you can see, this is not a very deep pot, but it has a flat open wide open mouth, because of which the ferns, they get the space to open up like this. Next is, what is the perfect soil for ferns? Now ferns, they do not like to be over fertilized or a lot of fertilizer. So what I would suggest is a normal potting mix is good for ferns, and what you can do is you can mix a little bit of organic compost in it with some amount of coco peat. So let's say the soil mixture can have 30 to 40% of organic compost, 30 to 40% of coco peat, and the remaining can be your organic compost, because if you add coco peat, it will retain the moisture, and the roots of the fern plant, they love to be around a moist climate. But yes, moist doesn't mean wet climate. We will discuss that in the later part of the video. There should be some water retaining capacity, and the roots should be cooler in summers and warmer in winters. So adding coco peat, organic compost and potting mix is perfect for ferns. Now a lot of people, what they feel is that ferns like to be watered a lot, which is not correct, because where do ferns come from? First of all, they are like tropical plants, and their most favorite place to grow is under a huge tree, with the support of the bark and the stem of the tree. So they get filtered light and they get that humidity from the tree that they are that they are getting support from. And obviously the water that they get is also the filtered water which comes after the water, the rainwater touches the main big tree, and then these ferns, they get the water. So what we need to understand is that when you water your ferns, you have to first check that their soil is not wet, because if their soil is wet and you water them just because they are ferns, they would not like, because the roots of the fern, they will start rotting up very quickly. The ferns that you see, they should be like this, green in color, but if you overwater them, what happens is they will start turning yellow and they will become crispy like chips, and which is not a good thing. So whenever I water my ferns, I always put my finger inside the soil and check if the top 1 inch of the soil is dry. Only then I water my ferns. But more than watering, what ferns require is regular watering. So if you're watering today and then you don't look to your ferns for another 5-6 days, and then suddenly you just wake up and water, your ferns won't like it. If you have a look at this fern over here, this is Maidenhair fern. Now this is one of the most fussy ferns that I've ever come across. I've honestly killed two, and this is my third one, but this has been with me for a long time now, and I think now I have understood how to keep them happy. These ferns, what they want is you have to check them every day, and the moment you feel that they are on the edge of drying up, you need to water them. So that's how you get such green ferns. Also, ferns, they prefer humid climate. Now how can I give humid climate to my ferns? Number one, they should not be getting direct sunlight, but yes, they do like bright position, bright light. So you can keep them inside or outside the house in a place where they're getting a lot of light throughout the day. But the ferns like Maidenhair ferns and Boston ferns, like this one that you see, they are a bit more fussier than compared to the other ferns. When I say fussier, they love more humid climate. So what I do, as you can see on your screen, I keep all my ferns together and I make sure that wherever they are kept, at that position they are receiving bright light throughout the day, but definitely no direct sunlight. And because they are all together, they are like 15 ferns together, they themselves create that humid environment for themselves. And this little thing that you see in the middle of them is just a normal waterfall that I've kept, so that there is some water in the middle of the fern which is not touching them directly, but it is kind of creating creating that humid atmosphere. So what you can do is either you can have a humidifier like this, like I have this humidifier. I bought it for around $8 or $9 from Amazon, and you can buy it online. I think I'll post the link because I bought it recently. But if you have a lot of ferns, I mean, buying humidifier for every single fern is not a very cheap idea or a very economical idea, I would say. So what you can do is you can create a humidifier, or you can create a humidity tray. Now how to do that? I'll take a tray, I'll keep some stones. So after filling the tray with the stones, I'll put water in it. The water is such that the top layer of the stone is not having water, because the top layer of the stone will have the pot. And there goes my fern. So if you have a look, the bottom part of the pot is not touching water, it is touching the stones. And this is a perfect humidifier tray. If I put in a lot of water like this and the pot is sitting in the water, that is wrong. Now ferns also have different tendencies. Like if you see this fern, this is called brake fern, and this is a holy fern. Now brake fern and holy ferns, these ferns, they don't require a lot of light. But if you talk about Boston ferns, and especially the Maidenhair ferns, these ferns that you see, they like a lot of light. What I normally do is I keep all my ferns at the same place, because I know that I have to take care of them a lot. So I will keep them all together, and if it is a hot day, I will spray some water on them morning and evening, because I just want to keep them cool. But if it is not hot, then there is no need to spray water. You can either use humidifier, you can use this humidity tray, or you can put some waterfall. Or what you can do is, the best option is to keep your ferns in a place where you're using water a lot. For example, bathroom or kitchen, because in these places you use water continuously. So your ferns will do great if you have kept them inside your bathroom or kitchen, for that matter. Also, you have to make sure that your soil is well drained. So what you can do is you can add a little bit of vermiculite perlite inside it, so that the water is not staying all the time inside the soil, and that will prevent the roots from getting rotten up. Next is to mulch the top layer of soil wherein you have planted your ferns. So what I will do is I will use either bark of trees, or I will use the husk of coconut or dried leaves. So basically this is called mulching. I can use any mulch or moss, and I will just cover the top layer of the soil with this, because what this will do is this will keep the roots cooler in summer season, and it will keep the roots warmer in the winter season. So adding mulch to your soil top layer for ferns, they will love it. Now fertilizing your ferns is again a very crucial step. As I mentioned that we do not need to fertilize ferns a lot, but what you can do is you can give them liquid fertilizer. So what I do is I give them liquid fertilizer once in 2 to 3 months, not more than that is required. So in my case, what I do is if I'm pouring cold water inside their soil, I'll just mix a little bit of seaweed fertilizer, or you can also use fish emulsion, as it is available in the garden centers. So any one of these two is fine, and I think fertilizing them once in 3 months is the best, not more than that is required. Now ferns, they do not like dry climate, and they also don't like direct air on them. So if you have kept your ferns in a place where you are switching on the fan and they are getting that air from the fan, or for that matter air conditioner or heater or anything, even near a door which keeps on opening and closing, and it's getting this wind all of a sudden, your ferns won't like it and they will just go dry. They love to be in a place where they are not getting direct air or direct sunlight, and it's all humid all the time. So make sure when you keep your ferns, they're not near any type of this appliances like heater, air conditioner or fan for that matter. The most suitable temperature for ferns is from 18 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. So if you are in a place where the temperature is going more than 30 degrees Celsius, you have to take care of your ferns, because it's getting drier for them now, and you have to make sure that they stay humid all the time. And either you can go for spraying them 2 times a day, but if it's too much work for you, what you can do is you can bring this small waterfall kind of a thing, or you can create this tray of humidity, and you can prevent your ferns from drying up. In my case, if you see, the entire summer has gone, and in Australia the climate is extremely dry in summer, but honestly none of my ferns died, or not even a single leaf turned yellow and I feel so proud of it because I made sure that they're not getting that, they're always getting the environment that they want. So if you are feeling that these are those fussy plants and I'm not able to keep them happy, honestly it's just a matter of getting that trick right, and that is one thing, and that is not overwatering them, thinking that they love a lot of water, and just keeping them humid, spraying them and giving them that cool cozy environment, and that's it. Now grooming your ferns is again very important step. So if you see that there are any dried leaves or anything which is not looking good, you should immediately cut it off, because if you keep them in your fern plants, it might attract a lot of fungus or aphids or spider mites, and nobody wants to have them in their garden. Now ferns, they don't like to be repotted a lot, so what you can do is you can repot your ferns once in 2 or 3 years and not more than that. Now before you repot, you need to make sure that does this fern plant require repotting. So because my fern requires repotting now, I'm trying to show it to you. As you can see, the roots have started coming out from underneath the pot, and that's how I know that there is no space for the plant inside to have a lot of roots. So I will be repotting this fern very soon, and it is quite an old fern. This fern is with me since I think 3 or 4 years now, and I just keep on pruning it, but I will repot it very soon. One more thing that I want to share with all of you from my personal experiences: don't touch your ferns a lot. And I've seen this, if you touch your plant a lot, they don't like it, and they kind of go dormant or sad, I feel. And just leave them, just only touch them if required. And it's like somebody is touching you all the time. How do you feel? If I'm not sure, but I don't feel good, so I think you should not touch them a lot. Also what I do is, because I'm spraying water on them sometimes, what I will do is I'll just mix a little bit of hand sanitizer in the water. Let's say if there is 1 liter of water, I will use 5-6 drops of hand sanitizer, and then I will spray it all over the ferns, even if there is no spider mites or mealybugs, because I do not want to wait for these unwanted guests to come in my garden and then take some steps. I would rather just spray it, because it is not going to kill my plants, and it would in fact save them from having these unwanted guests. So doing this is not a bad idea. You can also go for spray of neem oil if you have the access to, but hand sanitizer is not a bad option either. So I hope you understood that what ferns like. And in a nutshell, if I revise quickly: do not overwater them. Before watering, check their soil, give them that proper soil mixture, fertilizing them once in 3 months, keeping them humid, no direct sunlight and no direct wind air as well. And if you want, you can keep your ferns in kitchen, bathroom, or all of them together, creating that humid atmosphere, and your ferns will thrive, look green, and you will be very proud of them. See you. Bye bye.